Last night, some freak jumped on stage during a Netflix comedy special with a fake gun and a real knife and tackled Dave Chappell at the infamous Hollywood Bowl. This raging nut bar had his arm broken by Chappell's massive security team, including Jamie Foxx in a sheriff's hat, and was charged by LAPD with felony assault. That is no bueno. Now, back in the olden days, comics used to say outrageous things to shock the audience, and the worst case scenario would be a drunk heckler who later gave you crabs. Now, since Will Smith slapped the G.I. Jada out of Chris Rock's mouth, every violent dipstick who wants to make a point feels within his rights to hop on stage and physically violate someone they disagree with. Listen, dum-dums, words are not deeds. Speech is not violence. Violence is not warranted or acceptable when you hear something you don't like or that hurts your teensy ego. Violence is violence, and there are no rhetorical gymnastics to justify hurting someone because your feelings got bruised. Will Smith gave the unstable a hall pass to injure and maim because he's a secret psycho who couldn't control his temper on what would have been the biggest night of his life. Dave Chappelle has obviously offended people over the years, and most recently with his Netflix special, The Closer, where he took aim at the trans community. Does that make you mad? Tough Tetons. Then don't consume his stuff or go on a run. Offended sensibilities and annoying oversensitivity are not grounds for physical retaliation. And when you assault someone because you're a big, fat, simple idiot, you have lost the argument and will be forever relegated to society's stinky basement. Yes, that is a euphemism. Dave Chappelle, he'll be fine. He's rich and successful, and inspiring anger from desperate losers only adds to his mystique. And surviving an attack with wherewithal and humor means he has already won. And that's the memo. One of Chappelle's reps says he's fully cooperating with the LAPD, but these folks out there, they need to get a grip. Attacking comics or anyone you disagree with is never the answer. So where do we go from here? The party panel is back. Katie Pavlich, Marie Harf, and Dave Smith. Dave, I will start with you, for you are an actual comic. Where are we in society when people feel that it's a pretty good idea to go up on stage and assault someone in the middle of a set?
Yeah, well, I'm against that, but I might be a little bit biased.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down, Dave. Here we go.
I mean, I've noticed for years now, I'd say since like 2013, but it's been getting worse every single year, audience members are way more sensitive to like something that offends them and then really blurring the line between it being violence or whatever. But I haven't really felt like, any more than is the typical danger of being in like a nightclub, that someone would actually do something. And a lot of comedians were concerned after the Will Smith thing that this would like lead to a new president. I don't know if that's true or not, but I will tell you, I do like the precedent of somebody rushing Dave Chappelle on stage, which, as you pointed out, is very serious. I mean, the guy had a knife on him. Yeah. You have no way in that in that instant of knowing whether he was trying to stab him or not. I like the idea of that guy leaving with his shoulder all, you know, in a weird Z position and still facing charges the next day. So yeah, that's what's going to happen, and that's what's going to happen, I think, to most people, even not in a huge, you know, amphitheater like that. You're attacking somebody who a bunch of his fans are probably in the crowd, and he's got security and stuff like that. So yeah, good for this guy. People out there, don't do that again.
Don't do that. Just don't do that. And you would think that everyone knows that, but apparently everyone doesn't know that. And now, Marie, like, shows like this aren't going to be fun because there's going to be so much security. And there's going to be questionnaires and psychological profiles before you even sit down to enjoy a good old-fashioned comedy show.
Yes, well, I think this is awful, and obviously I don't think this should have happened, even though I don't particularly like Dave Chappelle. And look,
How could you not like Dave
tend to err on the side of comics. I mean, from that and a lot of other things. Just because you have the right to say things and make outrageous jokes, I don't think necessarily you should. But I love Michelle Wolf, and a lot of conservatives don't like her. So, yeah, you know, I think to each their own, and I hope this is not the new normal, because I do think it's pretty scary.
I think it's scary,
Michelle Wolf and Dave Chappelle are good friends, by the way. I love both of them.
That's great. Michelle Wolf can be funny
I know they
sometimes.
are. I follow her on Instagram.
Dave
I've
Chappell,
seen that.
consistently way more funny, especially when he talked about how AIDS went from chimpanzees to humans. Okay, so Katie, is this a direct correlation to what happened between Will Smith and Chris Rock?
Well, first, Kennedy, I would say if you're not a real comic like me, but you tried to do comedy, nobody shows up to your shows, so you don't have to worry about anybody tackling you when you're on stage. I don't know if it has a direct correlation to what happened with Will Smith and The Rock. I like that comics get up and they make jokes about the things that happened to them. I have some advice. My mother took us to Carlos Mencia once when we were teenagers on accident, thinking it would be a fun family event. And when the midget started giving a lap dance on stage, she knew that she had made a mistake. So if you're going to be offended, just don't go to comedy shows.
Little person, Katie.
A little person, yes, exactly. I'm so sorry. The point is, if you're going to be offended, don't go to a comedy show. That's the advice.
I think the lesson here is Carlos Mencia, Michelle Wolf, Dave Chappell. Let's just keep it in order.
So
okay,
Dave, so of those three, you say Dave Chappelle is the least funny? Dave?
No, he was the tallest and the best, the most funny. Dave Chappelle, up top.
Okay, there you go. I think he's a genius. Yeah. All right, I may not agree with everything he says, but that's not why I watch comedy. All right, thank you so much, party panel. This has been a party, and I heart you all. Katie, Marie, and Dave, well done.